morning, Governor.
Good morning. Well, good morning to all of you, and thank you all for being here this morning. Let me begin by saying from the moment that I signed into law Senate Bill 1070, the Support Our Law Enforcement and Safe Neighborhood Act, Arizona has been preparing for this day. Because the facts have too often been lost in the rhetoric, let's reflect on what has brought us here today. Arizona did not ask for this fight, nor did it seek out the task of having to confront illegal immigration. We cannot forget that we are here today because the federal government has failed the American people regarding immigration policy, has failed to protect its citizens, has failed to preserve the rule of law, and has failed to secure our borders. The failure to secure the border has created issues we now face regarding illegal immigration, and Arizona, without question, bears the brunt of that failure. We also cannot forget that President Obama and his party had both houses in Congress for 2 years and could have secured our borders and fulfilled the promise to fix our broken immigration system. They failed. In response, Arizona had no other choice but to act, and Arizona did so by following, not changing, federal law. Instead of devoting resources to suing states like Arizona, the federal government should have spent time, money, and energy on fixing the problem. So today is a day when the key components of our efforts to protect the citizens of Arizona, to take up the fight against illegal immigration in a balanced and constitutional way, has unanimously been vindicated by the highest court in the land. The heart of Senate Bill 1070 has been proven to be constitutional. Arizona's and every other state's inherent authority to protect and defend its people has been upheld. I prayed for strength, and I prayed for our state before I signed Senate Bill 1070. I did so because I firmly believed it represented what was best for Arizona. Border-related violence and crime and the significant financial cost due to illegal immigration are critically important issues to the people of our state and to me, both as governor and as a citizen. As I have said, this is the day that we have been waiting for. And make no mistake, Arizona is ready. We know the eyes of the world will be upon us. We know the critics will be watching and waiting, hoping for another opportunity to continue their legal assault against our state. But I have faith in our law enforcement. Our brave men and women in uniform have been trained so that they are able to enforce this law efficiently, effectively, and in harmony with the Constitution. Civil rights will be protected. Racial profiling will not be tolerated. Senate Bill 1070 is equally committed to upholding the rule of law while ensuring that the constitutional rights of all in Arizona are protected, including prohibiting law enforcement officers from solely considering race, color, or national origin in implementing its provision. In fact, under my direction, Senate Bill 1070 was amended to strengthen and to emphasize the importance that civil rights are protected. Arizona is prepared to move forward to enforce this law that we have fought so hard to defend, ever mindful of our rights, ever faithful to the Constitution, and ever worthy of the blessings of God who has given us that we share together as Arizonans and as Americans.
Governor,
Thank you.
Governor, you mentioned Section 2B, and I appreciate that, but there were 3 other sections of a law you signed and defended, including one that would make it a state crime not to have federal papers, one that would make it a state crime not to work, and the full court essentially said, with the exception of Mr. Scalia, that no, you can't do that. So how do you defend having signed something like that? How do you defend having declared that constitutional 2 years ago, only to have the high court slap you?
Well, today, the state of Arizona and Senate Bill 1070 was vindicated, and the heart of the bill was upheld unanimously.
Governor, how effective can Section 2 be without the enforcement from those other sections? I mean, considering some of the Obama administration's rules on who they're not going to deport anymore?
Well, with Section 2B being upheld, it says that local law enforcement can assist the federal government in the right to ask under reasonable suspicion and whenever practicable to confirm the legal ability of someone being in the state of Arizona.
But the point, I think, of Jeremy's question is, if they have decided to, the president's statement, and today they also canceled the state's 287G status, if they're not going to pick them up, what's the point? So you stop, you determine somebody's illegal, ICE says, so what? So you let him go. So you've accomplished nothing.
I believe that we have accomplished a lot and that it was upheld by the United States Supreme Court, and that we will move forward instructing law enforcement to begin practicing what the United States Supreme Court has upheld.
Governor, there are going to be, and the court recognizes that there'll probably be challenges to Section 2. You guys lost on 3 of the provisions, and you did prevail on Section 2. But it looks like there's an opening there. There's some people saying she's characterizing this as a broad victory, and it's not.
Well, this certainly is not the end of our journey. We fully expect lawsuits to be filed and that this portion of the law be challenged, and we will be getting ready and prepared if that takes place.
Well, what makes this a victory then?
Change logistically for police? I mean, can you inform us as to what exactly is going to happen and when?
Well, I think the court upheld the ability of the local law enforcement to assist the federal government in immigration laws, meaning that they have the authority under reasonable suspicion to question someone who has already been apprehended to certify whether they have legal status in Arizona.
Does this really change anything?
I would think that it would be in effect immediately. You probably might want to speak to a lawyer, but my personal opinion is that when it's upheld by the Supreme Court, that it would be effective immediately.
We've got time for one more question.
New York University's law professors have said that cities and localities already had the right to check for immigration and working with ICE. Does this really change anything on the ground here in Arizona?
I believe that it does. I think that Section 2B was the heart of the law. I think that's where the majority of the concern was, whether local law enforcement had the ability to seek information from people that they apprehend in the middle of a crime. And now it has been validated unanimously by the United States Supreme Court.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Governor, but you still have the fact that the federal government is saying they're not going to deport these people. Matt?